Hi everyone. It's not always easy making things online because things go wrong, always go wrong. And then it feels like you're going through a bad breakup.
What? I've put so much time into it. I've got nothing back. I don't know what to do. Okay, I just don't know what to do. You are wrong. So you are wrong about this. I just told you, are you crazy? I've been putting in so much effort. I'm really trying. What do I do? Why am I so bad at this? Yeah, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not good enough. I don't know. Why can't we work this out? Okay, let's give this one more try. Let's try and fix this.
My name is Romy and welcome back to Make Something with Romy. In this channel, I show you how to make things online without knowing how to design a code. Look, I've been there. I would go through all these stages when I would make things online and things would start to go wrong. But in today's video, I want to show you how you can get to the last stage yourself and troubleshoot all the errors. Honestly, when I was just starting out and I would get errors, my first reaction was, and I would just want to quit and give up. It's not just you, everyone goes through that. And the next stage is blame the machines. There must be a bug in the app. It's not me. And finally, the healthy stage, acceptance. Because you know what? We are all human. And 99% of the time, you've just made a mistake. There's only one way to fix it. Face the problem. The bottom line is, no one builds anything right in one go. Making errors is just part of the process, and you have to be comfortable with that. Here's the big secret. Let me introduce you to your new best friend, documentation. It's just a fancy word for an FAQ. And you know what? Every tool has great documentation. Usually, all you have to get comfortable with is reading a tool's manual. Hold on, not all of it. I would fall asleep with that. Let's look at an example. In one of my earlier videos, I had shown you an example of how a yoga teacher could take her classes online. If you haven't seen that video, no worries. All you need to know is I had used Card to make a one-page website and connected that with Stripe so that she could accept her payments online within the website itself. Both Card and Stripe have great documentation. So when I get stuck, all I do is the most obvious thing, Google it.
All right. So this is the article, right? And over here, this on the left side is actually all the documentation of Card. And the reason I'm showing you this is that, if there are things you want to do which I am not covering, this is where you can find it, right? And it's very explanatory. Like there are some basics. One thing to be prepared for is that every website's documentation is not always as good as Card. Card's is really good, and plus the founder AJ is very responsive himself. So I just want to show you this resource, which is available to you at all times.
Let's look at a couple of examples of errors I faced when I actually made the website and how I went about fixing them.
Here I am at the website I created, and I actually did something wrong intentionally. When I'm clicking on this, nothing is happening. Now, why does that happen? To understand what's wrong, I am going to open my console. Now, before I throw more heavy words, let me show you what it is. So if I right click, I'm on Chrome and I'm going to inspect. This opens up these are developer tools, essentially more tools to actually tell you what is going on behind the scenes. So I can, for example, I can actually see the code that is powering the button right here. And if I scroll below, let me just close this. If I scroll below, it's highlighting the code which is part of the page. So to figure out what's wrong, let me go to the console tab. And let's see what it says. It says the domain that directed to checkout is not enabled in the dashboard. Add this domain here. Now, this is the reason why Stripe is so phenomenal. Usually error messages are not clear at all, and that's why that's another reason why I love the product. Usually error messages are aren't this explanatory. They kind of give you a hint of where things could go wrong, but you actually have to do a lot of digging. But Stripe actually hands the whole thing on a platter to you. So here it says the domain that redirected to checkout is not enabled in the dashboard. Add this domain in settings. So I can actually just click here. That's opens checkout settings, and I actually see that Larissa Yoga is not part of the domain. So what I need to do is go back this domain, just add it here, right? So there, and just hit save. Okay, now let me go back. I'll close the dev tool and then hit refresh, and then let's see again. That's it, that fixed it. So just knowing how to troubleshoot is really interesting. Now, before I move on, I maybe just want to show you one last example in this content. So actually, let me go back to the SKU here. So for example, this is the SKU. Okay, now what if I use a test SKU instead of a live SKU? So let's see what will happen, right? So let me go again to the dashboard, and then let me view test data, and then go back to products, and there I have this is test data, right? And then let me take the SKU. Okay, and I want to go back to card, and instead of the live SKU, I'm putting a test product. Okay, and I'll go back here, and 1 second, I will publish changes. Okay, now let's see what's going to happen, right? Because essentially what I've done is in this live side, I'm using my live keys, but I'm using a test product, like a test SKU. So that should not work either, right? Click here, and nothing happened, right? So we're going to follow the steps like we did last time. Right click, click on inspect element, go to your console, and I see an error message. And what is the error message? There is no such SKUs. A similar object exists in test mode, but a live mode keys was used to make this request. So if I had used a test product with test keys, the request would have gone through. But if I'm using my live keys and I'm using a test SKU, the request cannot go through. So just by reading this error carefully, okay, and that's one thing with errors. I know it can look overwhelming and you just want to close this and not read it, but I would say just slowly force yourself to just go over what it may say, and it will make so much sense, right? You don't need to actually go in the details here, right? But what is more important is there's no such SKU found. You're like, but I added a SKU. So I would go back and see, is the SKU added? And you can see, yes, there's a SKU added. Why can't they find a SKU? And then I go back and say a similar object exists in test mode. So is this a test SKU and not a live one? So then I can go back and then I can actually see that this is a test SKU, right? This is the exact test SKU. So I'll just switch off the test data and then go to my live data and then pick a live SKU. This is the exact SKU number. So take this and go back here and paste this, and I'm done. I need to publish the changes again. So I published it. What I will do is click on this button now, and that worked.
So you see, making errors, failing, troubleshooting, this is all part of the process, and you just got to embrace it. It took me a while to get there personally. If you want to see more videos of me troubleshooting things, please leave a comment below and tell me what problems you face, and we're going to do this together. If you like this video and want to keep following my journey this year, please hit like and subscribe. This is Romy, and I hope running into errors this week doesn't deter you from making things.